Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the elders and bishops of Great Millstone who teach and rule well. And salutation to the beloved prophets and brothers continue to exhort the sheep in these last moments. And shalom to all the listeners listening in. The title of this epistle will be entitled, We in Sodom are only here to serve. This is why we were cast out to the four corners of the earth, out of our promised land, to serve the heathens, because we chose to be like the heathens and still continue to act and behave like the heathens, some of us. So we in Sodom are only here to serve. This is not our land. This is not our rest. We should not be looking forward to building up anything for ourselves here. We are to remain humble. And when we are brought low, we are to remain patient and wait for the exaltation of Yahweh Shai to exalt us in his time. So first verse I'm going to jump into is found in 1 Corinthians chapter 4. Reading from verse 9 on down, it says, For I think that Yahweh have set forth us, the apostles last, as it were appointed to death. For we are made a spectacle unto the world, as to angels and to men. The fact of the matter is that when the truth is brought out of the scriptures, it is not well received, and it will not be well received amongst the masses of the people, because it's it's supposed to be a divisive message for those that do not have the ears to hear or the eyes to see. But for those who were called in and chosen to receive this word, is going to be a joyous message unto you, according to the gospel found in Isaiah chapter 61. Those who have lived a life being abased, who can identify with the curses, being at the bottom, struggling, and endured with much suffering. Those particularly of the nation of the house of Yasharallah, you identify with the curses, but not everybody does. Even though there are those on the outside of this nation that has experienced these issues, it's only because the nation that we serve is a debased and dark nation. We in Sodom are only here to serve. We are not to make this our place of rest and refuge. We are not to partake in this system. We render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and we depart. We wait to be exalted so we can be presented to Yahweh Shai as poor and abased, so we can be exalted and brought out of the mire. Next verse, we'll go into Micah chapter 2 and 10. Right out of the book. Precept upon precept. Micah 2 and 10. It says, Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted. It shall destroy you, even with a sword destruction. This Sodom and Egypt that we are living in, it is blanketed with all kind of unprosperous and unrighteous laws over the lands. Those that continue to partake in the system and uphold it will ultimately come crumbling down with this system as well. We are not supposed to be gathering up any lands, partaking in whatever unholy days they continue to bring forth here in Babylon the Great. But we are supposed to separate ourselves and be sanctified and be ready for the coming day of Yahweh Shai, which is approaching rapidly. Micah 2 and 10, Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, this is not your home, because it is polluted. It shall destroy you, even with a sword destruction. This is what the word says. Next verse, next chapter, we'll go into Matthew chapter 8. Matthew chapter 8 and verse 20. It says, And Yahweh Shai said unto him, The foxes have holes, and the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man have nowhere to lay his rest. If we are abased and made poor. We don't have the finances to bring ourselves up out of the situations, but we depend on our power, Yahweh, to get us out of the situations. We can't just go and take out loans from banks and put ourselves in a situation of debt, because that is one of the snares of the adversary, is to keep you locked into a debt system. But Yahweh Shai says, he who he sets free is free indeed. You are free from the bondage of Egypt. You are set free. Anyone who continues to go back to Egypt to partake in that system, you are willingly becoming a slave unto Esau, Edom, and his empire here in Sodom and Egypt, which is going to be destroyed. Right? So we are here only to serve our time and to work. We are not here to have a good time and enjoy ourselves. Not saying that that can't happen on occasion, but if you're always in a festive mindset, always looking to be entertained in some way, you're going to be caught off guard on the impending dangers that are headed down the pipeline. We're going into the book of the Apocrypha, the mighty book of Sirach, also known as the Ecclesiasticus, chapter 10. And verse 30. Sirach, Ecclesiasticus, chapter 10, and verse 30. The poor man is honored for his skill, and the rich man is honored for his riches. The poor, the Most High Yahweh Shai has gifted us with many gifts and talents, and that is able to sustain us, but not to a point where we are seeking to build up ourselves here to acquire things that will ultimately be a snare unto us. So the rich man, he's honored for his riches, just like the case of Lazarus and the rich man, right? So we will be exalted in due time. We are stripped from all these things. We count this life here in Babylon as dung, as death. It doesn't serve us. It serves those who continue to participate in Esau, Edom's world, but it will not serve us. And although this may be a sting to some, you have to wait patiently and wait to be exalted. You have to wait to be exalted. We'll go into Philippians. Yeah, we'll go into Philippians. My goodness. Yeah, here we are. All praise the Most High Yahweh. Philippians chapter 3 and verse 8. It says, yea, doubtless, and I count all things but loss. We may be stripped of everything we have possession and ownership of, because the cost of inflation and increase is going to, we're not going to be able to sustain those things. Some of us may lose vehicles because the cost of insurance and the inflation of fuel and all these other things. We're going to have to decide whether or not it is more important for us to have food in the house at certain times rather than have a vehicle. You can always catch a bus, you can always walk, you can always get a bike to go and get those things. You have friends that can afford to have a car, you can go and get a ride with them. But we may be stripped of certain commodities and comforts, and that's okay, because in due time we don't walk into we don't get to enter into heaven when we already established ourselves here, building up our own little kingdoms, right? So we count, yea, doubtless, and I count all things but loss, for the excellency of the knowledge of Hamashiach Yahushai, my master, for whom I have suffered the loss of all things, and do count them but dung, that I may win Hamashiach Yahushai. Some of us may lose family members. This is when coming into this faith and this understanding and this truth. There's going to be those that may not have the strength to endure the onset of judgments and trials that Yahweh Shai will test them with. Everyone will be tested. So we're going to lose things. Expect to lose things. If you come to serve the Lord, prepare your heart for temptations, because some will suffer and will not be able to endure these things. They will go back to Egypt. They will go back to those that he has separated them from. They will go back to a life that makes them comfortable. They will not know how to make that transition spiritually and then carnally. They will not be ready. But we count it all dung. This is not our rest. We are in Sodom only to serve, only to work. That's it. He says, I have plans to give you a future and a plans to prosper. You will not be able to have a future here in Sodom and Egypt and prosper when the will of the Most High Yahweh Shai is to destroy this kingdom and then set up our kingdom. This is the word. We're going into Matthew chapter 5. Right? This is for those who endured the loss of all things and waited patiently and went and endured the trials and the tribulations that Yahweh Shai has set before them. If you're not suffering in this truth, you're not fighting. You don't need to be redeemed. Matthew chapter 5, verses 3 on down, it says, Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness. We'll be searching and trying to obtain righteousness, to be made clean and washed so we can be redeemed and taken out of this situation. If you are looking to make a situation for you here, you're not really needing salvation. You're not needing to be rescued. Right? Verse 7, Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see our power, Yahweh. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of the Most High Yahweh. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. There is much persecution that takes place in the life of those that are serving their power, Yahweh Shai. If you have not experienced any kind of persecution and have been mocked and scoffed and been called all kind of abominable things and labeled an outcast in this world, you are now one with this world. If you are going along to get along with those, you are now a friend of the world. If you're not despised, if you're not mocked, if you're not called all kind of manner of things and labeled someone who doesn't, they're going to separate themselves from you. But that's the cost of serving Yahweh Shai. Otherwise, you are one with them. Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my name's sake. He puts his servants in those situations to try them, to refine them, to see how they would act if they will cleave to him and listen and obey to him. He will put that vessel in the face of trials to test them, to endure all suffering. So those that are persecuting his elect, his prophets, their judgments will be sealed and their tongues will fall upon them. This is the lot. If you are not being put in front and center to be tested in that manner, to endure suffering, to be called all manner of things, liars, cheaters, you have a devil in you. You're misrepresenting the name of Yahweh Shai and reading his word wrong. If you're not being accused of these things, you are in the other lot of destruction. Thus saith Yahweh power. Rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. They hated Yahweh Shai. They said, oh, here comes this drunk bibber, this wine bibber. In this world, they perceive him to be something they would want in their company. No. If he was walking the earth today, they would treat him the same way. How come you just don't fit in? How come you just can't go along to get along? How come you can't just preach a good word? How come you can't tell us the good things? No. He was preaching to separate, to get away from those that want to continue living in a way that is comfortable. They don't want to be chastised. They don't want to go through refinement. They don't want to serve him. He's a king. You're a servant. You get down on your knees and you serve him no matter what he tells you to do. But they refuse it. And they mock the messengers who continue to serve him. We are in Sodom only to serve. Do not expect to be comforted. Do not expect to find a home here. It is polluted because it will surely destroy you. Thus saith Yahweh power. We're going to 1 Peter. 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 12 and 14. This is for those that may want to serve Yahweh power, to have that blessed hope of being covered. This is what he says to you. Beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened to you. Oh my goodness. Why they say that about me? Why am I being treated like this? Why am I being lied about? Why am I always coming up against judgments? Why am I not well received? But rejoice in so much as ye are partakers in Hamashiach Yahweh's sufferings, that when his glory shall be revealed, ye may be glad also with exceedingly joy. You will be redeemed. Prophecy is ultimately going to be caught up to the words that the prophets are speaking. So there's no undeniable truth that what the prophets are proclaiming in truth and sincerity and much fear of Yahweh is going to match those things. And then those that have continued to walk in darkness and reject the word, they're not going to have nothing to say because he's going to cause them to wear their shame. So we are a base to become exalted here in Sodom and Egypt. We are here only to serve. Our time and punishment, we were scattered to the four corners of the earth to serve our enemies, because our forefathers and ultimately us, before we were called into this truth, we wanted to be like the heathens. We wanted to dress like them. We wanted to hang around them. We wanted to sit in bars with them. We wanted to lay with their women. We wanted to mix our seeds with the heathen women. He says no mixing. This is what he says. Not making it up. We're going to close out with Wisdom of Solomon. The mighty book of Wisdom of Solomon, found in the Apocrypha. And chapter 5, and we'll read on through. Again, it speaks about two different lots. Those that are found righteous and those that are found unrighteous. Those that are found unrighteous, those are those that reject the word, reject his prophets, mock and scoff. They have become those mockers and scoffers, whether they know it or not. Chapter 5. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him and made no account of his labors. The poor man is only acknowledged for his gifts and talents. We're not acknowledged for the wisdom that we speak. They don't care for the words. They just care if you can go and build that and do this for them. They only see you as a workhorse, an ox, a mule. All right? When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they looked for. What? It blew their mind. Verse 3. And they, repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit, shall say within themselves, this was he whom we had sometimes in derision and a proverb of reproach? Him? Him? Right? We fools counted his life madness and his end without honor. What? He couldn't get nothing right. She couldn't get nothing right. They were a stain in our presence. They spoke with anger and with hatred and with division. This person? How is he numbered among the children of Yahweh or Yahweh Shai? And his lot is among the saints. Therefore have we erred from the way of truth, and the light of righteousness hath not shined unto us. They stayed in darkness. And the sun of righteousness rose not upon us. Right? He'll send you 1, 2 messengers. But you go and continue to have, you heap up pastors having seducing spirits. We wearied ourselves in the way of wickedness and destruction. Yeah, they went on about establishing their own ways and building up a little empire here for themselves, thinking themselves to be, in the good graces of the God that they were serving. There is a God of this world too. Which one are you serving? The one tells us to separate and come out of her, and one wants you to be a partaker of her folly. No, just unify. Come together. Let's come together. Zephaniah 2 and 10. Zephaniah 2 and verse 1 on 3 says, gather yourselves together, O nation not desired, before the decree ring out. The nation not desired are those that are cast to the four corners to serve their enemies. We wearied ourselves in the way of wickedness and destruction. Yea, we have gone through deserts. There's no water in a desert, where there lay no way. But as for the way of Yahweh, we have not known it. What hath pride profited us? Or what good hath riches with our vaunting brought us? These are what they're going to be asking themselves when the Most High Yahweh Shai shames them. Right? There's those that say, I like my traditions. I'm going to keep my traditions. I'm going to function in that way and withhold the traditions of man and not follow the ways of your power, Yahweh. There are those that don't like that divisive message. They say, oh, we should just, tell everybody the gospel, the good news. But this message is only for the elect, those that Yahweh Shai has ordained to receive this message from the predestination of time. He set up in the very, very beginning those that were going to go and serve him and do the work. And in the face of whoever is put in front of us, calling us all manner of wickedness, we're going to still stand strong, because he says, we're to stand strong and not get knocked off our square. So what? Let them play the lot of a scorner. He's going to cause their shame to fall upon them. It's already written. So what we do is we tell them, repent or perish, those of the house of Israel, and separate from your enemies, those of the nation of Esau, Edom, and every other nation. Separate from them. It's supposed to be divisive. It's not a hate message. It's a declaration of what he's telling you to do. Although they join hand in hand, the wicked will not go unpunished. If you are doing to the best of your ability to keep the law, statutes, and commandments and serving Yahweh Shai with fear and reverence, and you are in the vicinity of someone who's about to get judgment, say you're in the same car with them. If he decides at that very moment for that car to go flying up in the air and hit the back of whatever it is, and you're in that car with them, you're going to suffer the judgment along with them. Be mindful. So the next time, Shalom.